In this informative video, we delve into the world of disease surveillance, exploring the various types and discussing the disadvantages and advantages of each, from traditional methods like passive surveillance to modern approaches such as syndromic surveillance. We cover it all here. I simply want you to understand and differentiate the surveillance techniques, which can also help us to detect and monitor diseases and gain insight into the challenges and opportunities they present. Whether you are simply a public health professional, or a student, or simply curious about the field, this video provides a valuable insight into the complex world of disease surveillance. When we say disease surveillance, this simply refers to the ongoing systematic collection, analyzing, interpretation, and dissemination of health data for early detection and response to disease outbreak or other health threats. Next thing we need to look at is the key aspect and consideration related to the disease surveillance. First thing we have the data source. Secondly, we have the types of the data. Third one, we have the monitoring threat. Number 4, we have early warning system. 5, we have disease mapping. 6, we have integration of data. Number 7, we have international collaboration. We have public health intervention. We have ethical consideration and capacity building. Let's start with the types. Types of surveillance. We have the active surveillance, that is surveillance disease. We have passive surveillance disease, syndromic surveillance, and we have the sentinel surveillance. When we talk about the passive surveillance, in the case of passive surveillance, this simply rely on routing or reporting of cases by healthcare providers, laboratories, or other entities. In simple terms, we can also say it, passive surveillance relied on information that are already documented. This kind of information can already be documented either on the internet or manually, or we can collect those kind of information from the laboratory or any health facilities. In this case, let's look at the advantages. The first advantages of the passive surveillance is the time management. Secondly, we have easy implementation and continuous monitoring. So, what about the disadvantages? But first of all, you need to know that when we say continuous monitoring, this simply happens because it operates continuously, allowing for the ongoing of data without interruption. What about the disadvantages? Underreporting is one of the primary limitations of passive surveillance. It's underreporting where not all, when we say underreporting, this simply happens where not all the cases are captured or reported by public health authorities. Next thing we have the reporting, under the disadvantages, we have the reporting bias. In passive surveillance, may be subjected to reporting bias where certain population or regions are overrepresented or underrepresented in the data due to variation in health access diagnostic practice or reporting practices. Next disadvantage we have delayed detection and incomplete data. Second thing we are going to look at is active surveillance. When we say active surveillance, public health authorities actively seek out and collect data on cases by conducting regular and systematic monitoring through survey, interviews, and laboratory testing. In simple words, we can simply say in active surveillance, this fully requires the engagement of medical personnel, that is, in the field of work. Let's see the advantages and the disadvantages of the active surveillance. The first advantages we have is high sensitivity, timelines, comprehensive data collection, enhanced control measures. What about the disadvantages? the disadvantages we have resource intensive, complex implementation, intrusiveness, limited coverage, detection bias. When we set high sensitivity under the advantages, in high sensitivity, active surveillance typically has a high sensitivity compared to the passive surveillance because it involves proactive effort to actively seek out and identify cases. What about the active surveillance? In this case, it enables more timely detection and reporting of cases. So next thing we need to look at is the syndromic surveillance. When we say syndromic surveillance, this simply involves monitoring non-specific indicators or patterns of symptoms, such as fever, respiratory illness, or gastrointestinal complaint, rather than specific diagnosis. In simple terms, syndromic surveillance focuses on signs or symptoms or any marker that may indicate a disease. What about the advantages and disadvantages? The first advantages we have early detection, broad scope, flexible, cost-effective. What about the disadvantages? In this case, we are simply going to have non-specificity, data quality, privacy concern, resources intensive, limited predictivity value. So let's try to explain a few of these. Under the advantages, we are simply going to start with the first one, which is early detection. In early detection, it can detect outbreaks earlier than traditional surveillance methods, allowing for timely public health responses. What about the broad scope? The broad scope, which is under the advantages, it can monitor a wide range of symptoms or indicators, providing more comprehensive view of public health threats. So let's explain a few of the disadvantages. The first one we're going to start is data quality. In data quality can vary depending on the source, leading to issues with accuracy and reliability. What about privacy concern? In privacy concern, which is under the disadvantages, collection and analysis of syndrome surveillance data may raise privacy concern, especially if individual level data is involved. The last thing we're going to look at is the sentinel surveillance. When we say sentinel surveillance, this focuses on subset of healthcare facilities, laboratories, or geographic area that represent of a larger population. The first advantages we have is accurate information. What about the disadvantages? In this case, some cases of similar interest may be missed out because in sentinel surveillance, they are restricted. So this is it for this video. Thank you for watching.